What's up, YouTube? So I'm back with another video. As you can see by the title, I'm about to finally come to y'all with a very long and awaited video, which is my AIT experience. And for me at Fort Sam Houston, because I went there to become a 68 X-ray, which is a behavioral health specialist, which is what I still am till this day. So I was really putting this video off because y'all, I truthfully did not want to talk about AIT, and I know y'all probably noticed that it was a nice amount of time between when I came out with my basic training video versus this video, and you would have thought I would have came out with it sooner. But honestly, y'all, I was trying to run from this video, and I'm going to be touching on why I did not want to talk about AIT and why I went through a unique experience in AIT. So I'm going to touch on that, and I'm just going to kind of give y'all some insight on how AIT was set up when I went through, which was 2020. It was towards the end of 2020. This was during COVID restrictions. So I know things have changed, being that they're not being as strict about COVID. I am going to touch on all that, y'all. I'm going to give y'all a whole entire breakdown, and I'm going to enter a Fort Sam Houston Barracks room tour right into this video. But before we get started, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you turn on your post notification bell so that way you can be notified every single time that I post. And yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, y'all, so to get started, you will notice me looking down at my phone, and that's because I have notes on here that I want to try to remember to bring up. Also, y'all, for y'all that hate watching my super long videos, I'm gonna make this video into a part 2 because I don't want it to be super long because I'm adding every detail, because y'all know I like to give y'all every single detail. So because of that, I'm gonna give y'all a part 1 and a part 2. All right, y'all, so let's get into me transitioning from basic training to AIT, because that is also a part of the experience that you need to know about. And for me, I went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I went there as the only 68 X-ray in basic training, which, y'all, truthfully, I think that's a reason from the jump why everything was kind of thrown off for me when I got to AIT, because something just wasn't adding up. For some reason, y'all, I went to Fort Leonard Wood, but when I got to AIT, I found out that all of the 68 X-rays went to Fort Sill. So when I got to AIT, I was the only one coming there. I didn't have anybody that was leaving basic training with me that I already knew that I can kind of cling to once I got to AIT. I got to AIT 5 days after we graduated from basic training, because we were actually a holdover group, because it was so many of us, they couldn't get us out immediately after graduation. So we end up getting to Fort Sam Houston. I remember it was November 3rd. I graduated from basic training October 29th. So it was about around that time, right? And this is where I started realizing that things were kind of like not feeling in place for me, which made me not like it. Because remember, y'all, I was basically separating from everybody that I knew from basic training, because they were going to their own company. And since I was the only 68 X-ray, it was just me. So you can imagine how much I'm having to start all the way over. So yeah, I got to Fort Sam Houston. They told me, oh, your drill sergeant is coming to get you. You belong to her, type of thing. So she came and got me, and she was like, oh, you here? She was like, you know you start class tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow? I was like, it's like 6 at night, and I'm just now getting to the barracks. I haven't unpacked or nothing. And I'm like, how am I starting class tomorrow? She was like, yeah. And I'm like, damn. She was like, so I'm gonna bring one of the older soldiers that's been here to come and get you or whatever. So it was a girl that came and got me. She was a holdover. So it's a such thing in AIT as holdovers and hold unders, because hold unders are those that are not starting class yet or haven't started class yet for whatever reason. And then you have the holdovers. They already graduated at AIT, and they're waiting to get their orders to be shipped out or whatever. So it was a girl that was an X-ray. She came and got me or whatever, and she introduced me to my platoon that I was going to be in. And your platoon is basically your class of people that you're going to be going through class with and graduating with. So kind of find out, the class that I was starting with was a class that ended up getting COVID, y'all. So they had already been there for maybe like a month. And guess what? Like I told y'all, they came a lot of them came from Fort Sill, so a couple of them was already like clicked up, already knew each other. They was like, yeah, this my homie, this my people from basic training. And I'm like, damn. So I had to get in where I fit in, right? But luckily I ended up meeting a group of girls that I got along with very well, especially my little sis Wallace. I know she watches my videos, so hey little sis, I miss you. So because I was in the class that was starting the very next day when I had just got from basic training, I was like really overwhelmed, y'all. I was so discombobulated. Like I had went through a whole situation with my roommates at the time. I'm talking about they so happened to get into the room before me, and the way they used to have a barracks set up at Fort Sam, and I'm gonna insert a clip.
This is the door that you come in. This is my bunk bed. This is my bunk bed right here. You see the shower room? This is their space. And this is the other girl's space.
Even when we was going like to PT in the morning time, like they would walk with each other and they'll try to leave me and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, like y'all not feeling me, like why y'all leaving me out? So that was another thing, y'all. And I end up asking to get out that room. I felt uncomfortable in that room. You know, it was situations where I thought that, hey, this might jeopardize my career because I might have to say something to them. And I ended up going to my drill sergeant about it, and they got me out the room or whatever like that. So I was only in the room with them maybe for a week or two before they moved me to my second room, because I was in 3 rooms in AIT, but I'm gonna talk about it once I get there. So the second room I was in was with 2 people that I'm actually cool with. And I do want to just kind of touch a little bit more on the fact of, even though I was overwhelmed about starting class so soon, I was happy that I was starting class, because I was like, whew, I don't have to be a hold on under, because y'all, the people that did not start class the next day when we didn't start class until January. So let's talk about the setup in AIT, y'all. Like, how is AIT supposed to be? Like, this is TRADOC. It's a TRADOC pose. It's still IET, so initial entry training. So a lot of people are at the stage where, hey, you are not in a real army yet. You can get kicked out, especially at this level. Yeah, we got you through, well, yeah, you got through basic training, you know, you in AIT now, and the army is paying for you to go to school and learn, but you are still considered a trainee at this level, right? So it's certain ways that they have AIT set up at that point in time that I just want you to make sure that you understand before you go. And I'm sorry, y'all, my lashes has been already a long day. It's towards the end of the day now, and I'm recording this video, so if my makeup look oily and my lashes look like they coming off, y'all, it's because I'm just like, you know what, I'm about to get this video out, and I don't be trying to look super duper perfect. You know, I'll get to that stage for you too, but I ain't there yet. So remember, the main mission of you being in AIT is to get MOS qualified. That's the only reason you're there, y'all. So some people are there in AIT for as little as 8 weeks, and some people are there as long as 40 something weeks. So their AIT essentially is a duty station for them, and they get a chance to bring family, bring a car, and things of that nature, because that's how long their schooling takes. And usually that is with a 68 series, and of course Fort Sam, that houses all of the 68 series. But since it's so many MOSs that go there that are 68, they separate us into companies. I was in Alpha Company 188. I know y'all gonna know about that one because we were like the little stragglers, kinda. Because you need to get MOS qualified so you can get off into the big army and do your job, so the army can know that they put their money into the right soldiers. They make that your entire day, y'all. Like, everything in AIT is based around class. So because of that, it is set up with the intention of making sure that anything that they have us doing won't interfere with class. So PT super early in the morning, because they got to make sure you're going to be at class when the time for class starts. Anything involving going to the PX on the weekend, going to work out and things like that in the afternoon, all that cannot be done until after class. You can't even order food during class because they want you to go to the defect only. It was like that for the army, but remember, that's something I'm gonna go ahead and talk about. So at Fort Sam, they have it set up where this is a joint base. Remember, this is joint base San Antonio. So it's us with Air Force, with Navy, with Marines. And all of us are in a class together. So they have their own rules with their branch or how their AIT is set up, and we have our own rules. Now remember, Army is going to be the most strict branch. So because of that, y'all, we had our drill sergeants marching us to class. We couldn't go off and do certain things during the class day, even though they released us for lunch. Like, we couldn't leave without our drill sergeant coming to pick us up and marching us back to the company. So you got to keep that in mind. You will be feeling some type of way when you see the other branches alongside you and they kind of doing them. They can drink and do things like that, but in the Army, that was a no-go. They weren't letting us do nothing like that. Like I mentioned, the drill sergeants, they are there basically to keep you in check. I remember they said that drill sergeants did not used to be a thing for AIT, and then they made them a thing. So because of that, they are there to enforce the strictness of drill and ceremony, or whatever you call it. Like, they want to make sure we're at formations, that we're doing our PT, that we're still remaining efficient, or we're making sure that we're still remaining sufficient as a soldier, even though we're a student at that time. So because of that, they're marching us to chow, they're marching us to class, they're picking us up from class. On the weekend, they're watching over us, they're taking us to things that are mandatory, like going to get flu shots, going to get COVID tested, and all the things that they have us doing outside of the class period. Like, the main person that you are talking with is your drill sergeant. Another thing to remember, when you get to AIT, right, you're gonna get a PT belt. That's the first thing that they're gonna give you, and that was, I'm gonna insert clips and stuff like that. That is what separates you from the people that are stationed in Fort Sam and the people that are trainees, because y'all know they don't play that fraternization stuff. They want to make sure that people are not gonna get mistaken about why you are there. You are there as a trainee. You're not even fully in the Army yet. They know at that level you could get kicked out easily. We have to keep that PT belt on at all times. I'm talking about any uniform. Even like if you forget your PT belt, y'all, they will literally say, go back up there. Like, you will be in a lot of trouble if you do not have that PT belt on, y'all. So that PT belt is going to be a part of your uniform and your mask, because when I was there, it was during COVID, but I'm going to talk about some of the COVID restrictions. Another thing that came with AIT, which I'm pretty sure it was possibly different without COVID restrictions, but this was a thing, y'all, that sent people into a freaking uproar, y'all. Like, people were crying about this if it got taken away from them, and that was your freaking phase patch, y'all. The phase patch was phase 4, phase 5, and phase 5 plus. That is basically an indicator of what you're allowed to do and what stage of the process you're at. So phase 4 is for anyone that has not taken a PT test yet, and you're basically still new to AIT. You are not supposed to have on civilians. You're not, well, I think you can have on civilian. No, you can't have on civilians when you have the phase 4 patch. Even on the weekend, you have to wear your PTs to the not the commissary, I'm sorry, y'all, because you couldn't go to the commissary. You have to wear your PTs to the PX, to the SAC, which was a recreational center that we could go to. Like, you basically had to have on your uniform at all time, had to be at every formation, all because you haven't officially earned the right to have a phase 5 patch. Or if you get in trouble, they'll take your higher patch and give you a phase 4 patch to teach you a lesson, right? So many people used to be crying about that phase patch, y'all. I used to be laughing my butt off because I never had mine taken, so I don't know if it really was that serious in AIT, but I'm talking about people used like, he took my patch. Like, people were legit crying, y'all. That's how bad they wanted to be able to wear their civilians and do what you could do with phase 5. So what was phase 5? So basically phase 5 had the best privileges because we were only there for 20 weeks at 6 Ed X-Ray, so we weren't going to get the phase 5 plus, because that means you're there for probably like 30 weeks, 40 weeks, and you can have a car. I don't know what other privileges they have, but I know that you just basically you're stationed there once you get phase 5 plus. You've been there for months at that point. But phase 5, they used to have it where we could wear civilians to the formations on the weekend unless the company was in trouble. But if it was like a regular day, nobody was in trouble, everybody, like everything was going smooth, we can wear civilians to formation on a weekend. We didn't always have to show up for every formation. Like they'll make us show up for morning formation and then we won't see them again till bed check, or they'll let us battle buddy off to chow, and we didn't have to march to chow with the company. And so it was really a vibe, y'all. Like it really gave you the most sense of freedom with the phase 5 patch. So that's why people used to be so mad when they got it taken. And of course you had to take a ACFT in order to get the phase 5 patch. So that's why when you first get to AIT, they were like, no, I'm trying to take a test, I want my patch, I want my patch. Let me just remind y'all that throughout all this was during a heavy COVID period, but not really, because COVID had just started March 2020 and I left for basic August 2020. So when I got to AIT, it was November 2020. So yeah, we was about 8 months into the pandemic, but they still were taking that process serious. So it was a lot of restrictions that came to that. So I do want to kind of talk about what things changed in AIT due to COVID measures being in place. So remember, y'all, the biggest thing that was taken away from my cycle that came into AIT was that we were not allowed to go off post. So the people that you have watched that had the time of their life, you saw them at the mall, out to eat, doing this and that on the weekend because they could go off post, y'all, I am so sorry if you were expecting that, because I can't talk about that. I mean, I can give you a hint of what that might be like, but I'm just talking about it just because I'm sharing my experience, and a lot of y'all like to hear what I thought about my experience. So that is one thing that also put a really big damper on my AIT experience, and for a lot of people that went in during my time, was because we could not go off post. So you could easily see how that could make people want to act up and people get in trouble because we don't have nothing to do, like we bored. So a lot of people were getting in trouble about the dumbest things in AIT, y'all, or sneaking and doing a lot more things because you couldn't go off post, or you could be a little bit more slick about it because you like are away from the base, off out of the company, and you can kind of play with it a little bit more. But we were on base and we couldn't do nothing, so it was like boring as fuck, y'all. Like, it's not even funny. I freaking hated AIT. Another thing that kind of was not COVID related, but was how AIT happened, because I was there during the holiday season, which was Christmas, and during Christmas they let us take holiday block leave. And of course they let us take that because it wasn't gonna be nobody there to watch us, so they made it set up to where we couldn't leave to go on holiday block leave until like December 22nd. It was like a couple of days before Christmas, and you could only take until January 3rd. That's when we had to be back because school was starting back up. If you were going to take it, you didn't have to take the whole thing, but you had to kind of come up with where you were going to be, who was going to be picking you up and dropping you off from the airport. Like, you basically had to have a plan about how you were going to spend the holiday season. I think they had it set up to where if you were going to be staying in the barracks, they had to send you to another company where they were going to have people that can watch over the soldiers. But me, I chose to go home, you know, for damn sure I wasn't about to stay up there at AIT when I already wasn't caring for it, which it was super hard, y'all. Going off home my first time at the basic and being in AIT and having all those restrictions and getting that like big glimpse of freedom out of nowhere for holiday block leave, y'all. When I tell y'all, I was so depressed when I came back for after the New Year's, because I really felt like life had gotten taken away from me again. I'm like, I just felt grown for a second, and then I'm back to like the little kid stuff, no freedom and things like that. And around that time I was with my boyfriend, and we chose to kind of chill out in Memphis when I went back home, saw my family. And we was like, no, we're going to see how San Antonio is, since I couldn't go out post. So we came back earlier. We came back a week earlier of my leave, and we just spent that time in San Antonio. So I'm going to insert some clips of us out there during that time. So also how it was set up when we got back, right? Because, you know, you had to quarantine still. So because we had to quarantine, they had it to where we had to do class in the barracks for 2 weeks. Before we left, they had set it up where they had made us sign out laptops, CAC readers, and what we'll need, like books and stuff like that, so they can teach us over Microsoft Teams. So they made it to where we could not even do formations. We weren't doing PT during that week, 2 weeks, y'all. And basically the only thing they had us doing, no, we weren't even going to the DFAC for the longest. I think we went to the DFAC maybe once a day, and it used to be crowded as ever, y'all, because I think we had to get a hot meal. I can't remember what we were eating around that time, y'all, because I know it was a point in time. I'm going to talk about that during the snowstorm. But during the COVID restriction, y'all, I think we could only go to the DFAT, come back to the room. We had set times that we had to do laundry. We couldn't do laundry like how it usually is set up, where you can do laundry in the afternoon after class or all day during the weekend. No, they had us like basically stationed like in a fucking room all day, y'all. So that was very annoying, but it was cool because we didn't have to worry about formations and PT and stuff like that, y'all. And I do remember getting way more sleep during that time, but I'm pretty sure that is not gonna be what's going on now because COVID is not really affecting much anymore. So luckily, you more than likely won't have to worry about that. But that was a part of my experience, y'all. So which is why I keep telling y'all I didn't care for it. So since I have talked to y'all about the things that made AIT different due to COVID, I want to tell y'all what the average and regular day was supposed to be like in AIT and what most of our days was like, how it was set up for school, how it was after class, how it was set up on the weekend. I'm just about to talk about the regular day in the life that I had as a 6'8" X-ray. Okay, so how it was set up for Alpha Company 188, right? We had to be up for morning formation, PT formation. It had to be there by 04:30, y'all, and you had to be there 10 minutes earlier. I'm telling y'all, that's why we got in trouble a lot in AIT, because people were not there 10 minutes prior. Like, they did not play that during AIT, y'all. So that means we had to be out there formed up by 4:20. So y'all can only imagine what time we were getting up every day, y'all. I was waking up at the latest 4:10 and rushing. Like, everybody I think got like on the same tip, and we'll wait until 5 minutes so we can get as much sleep as we need to and throw on our PTs and be rushing the formation. Because literally, y'all, waking up at 4 in the morning 5 days a week, y'all, and PT was definitely 5 days a week, y'all. That shit was so freaking hard to do, y'all. I don't even know how some people just some people did. Some people literally used to just say, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna get in trouble, because it was so hard to keep getting up at 4 in the morning every day for PT at that. Like, you're so sleepy, so by the time you even like got down to PT, you're not about to work out for real. Like, you don't even want to be up. You halfway sleep. 1 second you were just knocked out, next minute you out here saying the Soldier's Creed, and then they make you keep saying it over and over again because they want you to be alert, they want you to be motivated. And it's like, oh my god, you don't even wake up that early in a real army. Like, in a real army, PT doesn't even start until 6:30 when the bugle call goes off. So it's like, why are we up so freaking early? But we had to be, because they had to have us out there doing PT, then get chow, then get ready to march to class and be in class all by 0800, y'all. So that was so irritating. But how formation was set up, right? We had to be lined up by 04:30, right? You have a PG in every class, which every class is considered a platoon. That's the people that you're more than likely going to be with the entire time. It's very hard to be with the other soldiers unless it's on the weekend or after class. But most of the time, you are with the people in your class. So you just better hope you have a good group of people in your class. And most of the class, especially with 6'8" X-ray, only had 15 people, I think, at the most. So it was definitely like a select few people to choose from as far as making like really good people that you vibing with like that. So you had your PG, and when I got there, we already had a girl that was already PG. She was already like picked to do it, and she was very high speed too, y'all. So I'm definitely happy that she was our PG, because they're the one that was responsible for sending out class information, keeping us on point. Like, so you know, they always have somebody like that in the military. And in the big formation, we had something called a student first, and that was the even more high speed soldiers, right? Basically, the student first was responsible for making sure that everybody had their count. They'll go over the report with the PGs, making sure everybody is there, and if anybody's not there, you got to make sure you know where they are. Like, are they on quarters, like what's going on with them, type of thing. And they report that to the student first. And the student first every morning, y'all, used to be like the freaking Soldier's Creed, y'all. You should freaking know the Soldier's Creed by heart, y'all, before you leave AIT, because they literally made us say it every morning, y'all. every morning. And if we were not loud and we did not say it together, they made us keep saying it over and over and over again, y'all. So after they do that, then that's where the drill sergeants come out, right? And that part used to take forever, y'all. Oh my God. Especially when it used to be cold outside, when it used to be hot. They used to take their freaking time coming out there getting a roll, right? Because that's who we were waiting on. We like, come on, so we can get this PT stuff over with, and it took all freaking day. So they'll get out there, right, and we have a drill sergeant for each class. So they'll come out there and they'll get the count, see who's there, and then they'll report it to the first sergeant. So after they report it to the first sergeant, then yeah, we also have to do the flag. You know, you have to salute in the morning time. So all that's going on in morning formation, right? And they're just making sure that they are tracking who's supposed to be there and who's not. Now it was some days where they had like some type of training or a class that they'll have us do right on the PT field, and we wouldn't have to do physical PT. But most of the time we were doing physical PT, y'all. So once the first sergeant got the count of everybody that was supposed to be there, then you'll have the drill sergeant that's leading PT for the day. He'll come up to the front and he'll be like, soldiers on recovery, fall out. Soldiers doing RPI, which is the soldiers on profile, fall out. Soldiers going to sick call, fall out. So basically everybody that's not conducting PT for whatever reason, they're falling out, right? Then they separate us into two groups, which is A group and B group, and basically it's separated by last names. So it might be A group today is A through M, and B group is M through Z today. And A group will go with this drill sergeant and they'll go do PT that way, and then B group will stay here, and then they used to switch it. And what we used to do for PT, y'all, is like the regular stuff that you do for PT, which is running hills, going on Indian runs, running down for 2 miles, ACFT training, push-up drills, climbing drills. Yeah, you'll do PT, right, y'all? So PT started promptly at 05, I believe. It was either 0:45 it's supposed to start, and we're supposed to be doing PT from that time until 0600. PT stops at 0600, right? And we have from 0600 to 0650 to go and get ready for class. So 50 minutes, y'all, when most people are in a room with 2 other people. Hurry up and get ready in less than an hour and be formed up with all your books and everything you need ready to go to march to breakfast chow. So we get downstairs, get lined up. You got your PG of your class. They're getting accounted, everybody getting accountability, because now our drill sergeant is going to come down there who is marching our group to class. So how they used to do it, the drill sergeant will get the count once again, because in TRADOC they don't play about making sure they have every soldier because there's so many of us. So then they'll do the count, and then they'll tell us to line up. So you know, what is it? What's this called? I don't even know what this called, y'all. Line up, cover down, I don't know what the fuck. And then you line up and you gotta scream and all that. Then they got the guide-ons, then they got the roll guards, then basically we're lining up shortest to tallest. Then after that, basically we gotta sing cadence and march to the DFAC. DFAC was like 5 minutes away. They'll file us into the DFAC. We got like, let me see, I put it down because I made notes of what AIT was like, y'all, while I was there, because I knew I was starting my YouTube channel. So 0650 formation for breakfast chow formation, and we have to be in the DFAC eating and done by 7:20. So we had like 10 to 20 minutes to be in, y'all, and they did not play if you weren't on time getting back into the formation to march us off to class. So that march to class, y'all, was like literally like 15 to 20 minutes for the 6-8 x-rays. We were marching so freaking long, and you had to sing cadence the whole time, y'all. So remember, y'all, AIT was like still basic training, just with a little more flexibility, but it was still very strict, very like prompt, and making sure you on point type of thing. So that's what made it even more annoying still, because it's like, damn, I've been doing this for so long. Like, I just did basic for 2 months, now I gotta do this, and I was in a 20-week long, so now I'm about to be there for 4 months. And it was just like, man, y'all, it was so hard. Then in our group, we used to drop off the echoes and we'll get to class, and then a drill sergeant say, okay, have a good day, y'all. And then we got to be in the class. We'll be finally meeting up with the Air Force and Navy that we're in class with, and then we'll start class right at 0800. So what was class like in AIT? So without me having to break down the curriculum of 6A X-ray, I do think that's an entirely different video, but I'm still going to touch on it. So how it was, right, class started at 0800 and they had rules, y'all, that we had to abide by. So no sleeping in class, no eating in class, no being late from breaks, nothing, y'all. Like I'm telling y'all, it was very strict because they were giving us so much work that we had to have completed by the end of the 20 weeks. And so, you know, you are already here anyway that AIT is very fast paced, especially in the medical MOSs. They're giving us a lot of information in a little amount of time, and they expect you to know how to learn that information and pass the next test. We used to have tests, y'all, literally every Friday, I believe, or every other day. And you'll go home, they'll give you the chapters that they want you, like they'll go over the chapters right in class. They'll give it to you, say take it home, study it, make sure you know your definitions, make sure you know your words. And I actually have the curriculum, y'all. I'm in a hotel right now, so I actually have the curriculum and the things we study, and I can bring that to y'all in a completely separate video where I just talk about how to pass 68 X-ray AIT. And I don't want to put that in this video, y'all, because the video will be extremely too long. So yeah, y'all, we had a very intensive class, a lot of work, a lot of reading, a lot of information, and then they dismiss you at 11:45. And sometimes they'll let us battle buddy, and sometimes we'll get marched to the DFAC. And they had a set DFAC that we had to go to that was by the schoolhouse. We go in there and we had to be back in class by 1300. We could not go and get food from the PX or anything during that time. We couldn't order food. The Air Force could, the Navy could, y'all, and sometimes they used to be like, do y'all want some? But that was not what the Army was allowed to do, y'all. So it was very strict on us. So we got back to class at 1300. You get breaks every hour because they have it set up where they can't work you longer than 50 minutes at a time. So you'll get a 10-minute break every hour. So yeah, you'll get dismissed from class at 16:45 each day. And with the branches being in the same class, they had designated days for each of us to stay behind. So like one day the Army will stay behind, clean up, get trash, make sure that chairs are pushed up, things like that. And the next day the Air Force will do it. Then the next day the Navy will do it, or the Marines. And then we'll switch it again, and then we'll be formed up waiting on our drill sergeant to come pick us up. Sometimes our drill sergeant will be on time, and sometimes, and a lot of times, he won't. So a lot of times, y'all, we got stuck doing the evening flag at the schoolhouse, and then we'll march to class, because the evening flag is meant to be done at the company where you already are out of your uniform, you're in your PTs, you're about to march to dinner chow. So by that time the day is over, you know. And sometimes we'll have that evening formation if you're phase 5. Sometimes they'll let you walk on to the DFAC. You don't have to wait on the drill sergeant. And sometimes they make you march. And of course, most of the time when we had to do that, it was because we got in trouble about something in the company. So the best part also, y'all, that I want to throw in there about evening formation is it was the most flexible. So they did allow us to order food for dinner chow, or you can go to the PX during that time, or you can like do whatever you wanted to do for dinner. It wasn't like, oh, you had to go to the DFAC because you were out of class, the mission was done for the day. So it was the most flexible. And because I'm about to start getting into what it was like outside of class, I'm gonna say that for part 2, y'all. So if y'all want to know what ACG was like, if y'all wanted to know what the PX was like, going to the SAC was like, anything else involving life outside of class, the primary mission, then you gotta stay tuned for part 2, y'all. So make sure if you have any questions or anything that you're wondering, make sure you leave it in the comment section. But you have to like the video, y'all. Make sure you are subscribed, because this is going to help to grow my channel and get my videos pushed out to a larger audience. I am working on 1,000 subscribers, y'all, so I need y'all to make sure you are subscribed before you leave this channel, okay? So without further ado, thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for my AIT experience in part 2. Alright, y'all, so I wanted to give y'all a tour of the Fort Sam Houston Barracks. This is where I have stayed for the past 5 months as a 68 X-ray. In this building that I'm in right now, it's the X-rays, Romeos, Tangos, Echoes, and Sierras that will live here if you come to Fort Sam Houston. And so I finally got a real chance to record a video, kinda. I really wanted to make this video, so I'm gonna put it together as best I can, just to show y'all what y'all gonna be working with. So this is our ACG desk where we pull guard. This is our breezeway. Our breezeway where you walk to get to your room. And so I will show y'all what the rooms look like, y'all. So when you walk upstairs, I'm on the 3rd floor. The 2nd floor is the males, and we have females on the 1st floor. I'm not gonna show y'all the alphabet that I live in, but you will get this key right here, and you will open it like that. It will turn green. Then you walk in. Excuse if it's dirty in our pod. It was mud today, and so I'm pretty sure it got tracked in. But, all right. So I have my keys on my dog chain. Okay, y'all, so this is another tour of the room because we have just moved out because we leave today to PCS. And so I wanted to show y'all the room, how it looks while it is empty for the most part. So nothing is in here. I have one luggage left. It's huge as shit. My roommate's side is clear. My side, clear. Bathroom, we left that because that was left for us, so we left it for them. I'm gonna leave the shower curtain because of course they still need at least a shower curtain. And I'm gonna leave the mirror for them that we haven't turned in our PT belt or anything yet. But yes, y'all, this is a tour of the room as it looks empty and how you would see it as you move in, and to have everything empty. Nothing is in the wall lockers. So if you get my room at Fort Sam Houston, I hope you enjoyed my side, because I did. And there was only 2 of us the entire time, so we looked up. All right, y'all.